All right, Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Mashalkum like Yahushai. That is to say, Yahweh, being named the Heavenly Father, who the world will call God, and Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. This is Brother Kasadi from W5 Jersey, Philly. Writing through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. We're giving the latest prophetic update, on this Wednesday night. Just giving you a quick recap, so to speak, or summary, really, the things that's taking place right now in the world that you should be mindful of. A lot of this is, just pretty much, again, updates of what has already been taking place, right? But it's imperative that you understand what is the latest events of it, right? And it's our job and our duty to go ahead and bring that forth, right? So I want to actually get this precept in the book of Ezekiel, right? So like I want to get Ezekiel chapter 21, and I'm gonna get Salakia. I want to get Ezekiel chapter 20. Actually, Salakia, hold on. I want the book of Isaiah chapter 21, and I want to get verse 5, right? And it reads, "Prepare the table, watch in a watchtower, eat, drink, arise ye princes, and anoint the shield." So the Lord said you got to prepare the table. The Lord said you got to watch in a watchtower. The Lord said, yeah, you'll still eat and you'll drink, but you want to make sure that you're anointing the shield. Now, what is a shield used for? A shield is used for defense. A shield is used for when you go into battle, right? And you want to protect yourself. All hell's about to break loose on the earth, and you want to make sure that your shield is none other than Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And that the sword, right, which is the words of the Most High, that the whole armor, right, which is staying in the spirit of the Lord, it has all placed upon you because we know what time you're about to enter into, right? We bring this out week in, week out, whether at camp, out of camp, on these cold cut videos, whether brothers doing the Monday Night Fire, you hear it all the time, whether on this channel, whether on the WFI backup channel. It's a constant reminder to let you know that impending judgment is about to happen and take place on the earth, and that you want to make sure you're preparing yourself, right? So through the spirit, I can prepare you by showing you the different things that's taking place, the major things that's happening. There's a lot of things happening in the world, right? There's drive-by shootings. There's damn abomination being placed into foods. It's a whole bunch of lies that's being exposed. A lot of the curtain that's being pulled back and unveiled. A lot of things that's taking place in the world, but we want to give you the latest major prophecy updates so that you understand what time you're living in, so that you're not out here asleep and damn get caught out there in a day of trouble. Because trouble is at hand. Trouble is about to take place in the world. So what you need to do is you need to, again, make sure you're prepared and you're watching and you're being vigilant and you're sober-minded, so that way you're not caught out there when all hell breaks loose. So without further ado, like I said, this is going to be a quicker video, but nevertheless, we're going to get right into it, right? So if you've been keeping watch, you understand that Russia and Ukraine has been going to war for the last 3 years, since February 2022. Now, with them being at war, we also understand that Trump, he's been trying to be this peacemaker in the world since he got into office his second term. Russia and Ukraine was on the verge of doing this peace talk, and they actually did a ceasefire over this past Easter, so-called Easter Sunday. But, they continue right back into to battle. And I want to get this real quick. This is 9:20 a.m. this morning, right? It says just in high level Ukraine peace talks in London set for Wednesday have been canceled after top U.S. diplomats abruptly withdrew. Right now, I want to make sure you're right. So they had high level peace talks that was set up today to take place, but it was abruptly canceled. Why? Right? It says the meeting meant to bring together key foreign ministers, including the U.S., UK, France, and Germany, collapsed amid Washington's frustration with Kiev's refusal to consider a controversial proposal to cede Crimea to Russia in exchange for peace. And Crimea, if I'm not mistaken, that was a land that Russia had taken over in 2014 when they had originally launched an invasion of Crimea. It used to be a part of Russia. It was given over to Ukraine. Then Russia, essentially said, look, as long as NATO doesn't move any further, then we're good. But NATO continued to try to expand as Crimea is actually in a region. It's a close proximity to Russia. If NATO is dealing with Ukraine and they're placing their troops in Crimea, they give direct shots and access to go ahead and launch an invasion or an attack on Russia. So Russia wants that. They don't want no one to be right there, which is understandable. Again, that's their own previous land. So nevertheless, these peace talks, they were there. Now it's being withdrawn again. It's been okay, we're going to have a peace talk. We're going to try to end this war. Trump said before he got elected that he's going to end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. Well, he's been in office longer than 24 hours. And this war has continued to been drawn on. It says lower level talks are still underway in London with British Foreign Secretary David Lammy now only expected to make a brief appearance. So this is important and significant because I actually want to pull this up. It says this is from the Independent. I believe this is independent.co, right? It's a UK publishing company. So anyway, it says Ukraine-Russia war. Trump lashes out at boasting Zelensky after claiming U.S. peace deal is close. This is what he said. He can have peace or he could fight for another 3 years before losing the whole country. So Trump is essentially saying, look, you're either going to sign this deal or we're done. Right? You're going to sign this deal or we're done. We're going to withdraw our resources from you. So it says Donald Trump has hit out at Vladimir Zelensky for saying Ukraine would not recognize Russia's occupation of Crimea. And that's what we just read, right? So these are two sources. It says this statement is very harmful to the peace negotiations with Russia. The U.S. president said in a social media post, adding that a U.S. brokered peace deal is on the horizon. Quote unquote, he has nothing to boast about. The situation for Ukraine is dire. He can have peace or he can fight for another 3 years before losing the whole country. It says Mr. Trump wrote, right? Edomite Trump. It comes as high-level peace summit in London to discuss the terms of a Ukraine peace deal on Wednesday was abruptly downgraded after Edomite Trump's most senior diplomat snubbed the meeting. Foreign ministers from France and Germany abandoned plans to travel to the UK for the talks after U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced he would not attend, citing quote-unquote scheduling issues. What the hell scheduling issues do you have when you're dealing with trying to end war, end bloodshed? You make it happen. These people fly private jets. We don't want to hear scheduling issues. See, what's really going on is Ukraine is not playing ball. So the U.S. is trying to withdraw themselves. Now, NATO and the EU, of course, they want America to make this deal. Because they want to really what they want to do is they want bloodshed, right? Everyone wants bloodshed, but they're trying to push it back a little further, kick the can down the road, so to speak, as they say. And one of the ways to do that is by, retooling, regrouping, and allowing Russia to be, surprised at a later event if they ever so choose to go ahead and attack them. Now, according to prophecy, we understand that America is going to be destroyed. And out of the three heads of the eagle, when you read 2nd Ezra chapter 11, when you read 2nd Ezra chapter 12, the three heads of the eagle being America, EU, and Russia, America is going to be suddenly destroyed, immediately destroyed. And it's only going to leave the EU and Russia left. And then, of course, Russia is going to be the final Edomite kingdom remaining prior to Yahushua being on the scene. So this is all of really a long-awaited, drawn out, or I should say, drawn out attempt of Esau, to try to hinder prophecy. But the Most High, he's the one that's bringing these nations to go to war, right? He's the one doing this. So they can have peace talks in these different meetings, but at the end of the day, everything's of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And if the Lord wants the war to continue on, it's going to continue on. I want to get this real quick in Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 4. It says, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them, Slakia, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So what is this talking about? Ezekiel 38 and 4, the Lord is prophesying that Gog, Magog, which we Meshach, Tubal, right, in a chief prince, of course, which is really just going into Russia and his allies. Hey, the Lord is going to force them to do battle, force them to be brought to war. Now, these things aren't going to continue. They're not going to be quelled. Hey, the Most High God, again, he said he's going to put the jaws in their mouth and bring them to battle. So when you're seeing these nations talk about peace and serenity and everything's going to be okay, hey, the Most High, he's always had a spirit of judgment upon the earth, especially amongst these other nations. For the evil they done to us, hey, the Lord, we understand, he's giving these nations double in that cup. Let me get that real quick in Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, and I want to get Slakia, Jeremiah chapter 50, and let me see what I want, right? Where the Lord said he's going to give these nations double, right? Hold on, give me 1 second. Find this precept. All right. I believe it's Jeremiah, the 50th chapter is what I'm thinking of. All right, let me find this. I believe it's Jeremiah chapter. No, that's not what I want. Bear with me. Let me find. Salakia. I wanted Jeremiah chapter 25, not 50. Jeremiah chapter 25 and Jeremiah chapter 25, and I'll start at 27. This is Jeremiah. Actually, I'll start at 25. Right? Jeremiah chapter 25 and verse 25. It says, and all the kings of Zimri, and all the kings of Elam, and all the kings of the Medes, and all the kings of the north, far and near, one with another, and all the kingdoms of the world, which are upon the face of the earth, and the king of Shishak shall drink after them. Therefore, therefore thou shalt say unto them, thus said Yahweh, the God of Israel, drink ye and be drunken, and spew and fall, and rise no more, because of the sword which I will send among you. And it shall be, if they refuse to take the cup at thine hand to drink, then shalt thou say unto them, thus say Yahweh of hosts, ye shall certainly drink. So the Lord says he's going to certainly make these nations drink, to be drunken, to fall, to rise no more, because the sword is going to fall after them. And they're all going to be slaughtered and destroyed. And that's thus say Yahweh. And there's nothing they can do to stop that. They could try to take down a YouTube video. They could try to take down a YouTube channel. They could try to take us off the streets. They could try to do all these different things on a carnal level, not understanding that they're fighting against Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And they'll never win that battle. It just will never happen. It says, for lo, I will begin to bring evil on the city which is called by my name, and should ye be utterly unpunished? So the Lord's about to bring evil on Jerusalem, evil on Israel. Are these nations going to be unpunished? If 2/3 got to be cut off, and that's 2/3 of the Lord's chosen people. What is going to happen to the people that wasn't chosen? It says, ye shall not be unpunished, for I will call for a sword upon all the inhabitants of the earth, say Yahweh of hosts. We understand what's taking place right now between Russia and Ukraine, right? But we also want to keep watch over the latest with Iran. So let me pull something else up as well, right? So also, this is 12 hours ago. You have Ukrainian President Zelensky says that he's ready for immediate and unconditional ceasefire with Russia. Now, he's been saying a lot. He's been saying he wants a ceasefire, then he's kind of, continue to withdraw and delay. And it's just a bunch of lies that's been taking place. 2 hours ago, Kiev in Ukraine was actually attacked, allegedly. There's a Russian drone attack, as you can see the video. That's magnificent. All praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And Lord willing, things of this nature and magnitude continues. Lord willing, this continues. Allegedly, it says 3 Russian bombers took off from the, however you pronounce that, military airfield. Hypersonic Kenzhal missiles launch is more than possible soon. As long as you know what is really happening in Ukraine, we here have chance to win. Yeah, okay. It says 7 Russian cruise missiles fly over Ukraine. And then you had the drones that were spotted over the north part of Kiev about 44 minutes ago. So you definitely want to, continue to keep watch over that. And we do try to help as well with our X account, right? If you're looking on the screen, this is the official Watchmen for Israel page. Continue to try to give you that prophetic update. We have on there mentioned as well live classes and much more. And we'll try to continue to expand this X account, but you do have to, follow and hop on as we continue to, help out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai with giving up these updates, right? Giving out these updates. Now, we understand that, another thing you want to continue to watch right now is, the latest between Iran and Israel. About 2 days ago, this is actually Monday, if I'm not mistaken, Iran is becoming, officially a strategic partner of Russia. Now, they already been working together, but as ties get closer and closer, it says Putin has signed a law ratifying the strategic partnership agreement with Iran. The arrival of the Su-35 should not take much longer. Right? So what is the Su-35? Is one of the most powerful military aircrafts in the world. And now Iran, who already was being supplied by Russia, they just made a new law to officially ratify it and officially put that in place, where this partnership agreement is really something that the Iranians don't really want. Or it's like not Iranians, but these so-called Israelis don't really want. Amalek, right? And we understand they're going to continue to die and be destroyed in that land because they don't belong in that land. So all praise to the Most High that you have things like this taking place. You do have reports of Israel allegedly, let me backtrack, right? The state of Israel, Amalek, pretty much trying to prepare for, an attack on Iran while America is still trying to do this peace deal with Iran, so that way they can essentially for them to stop producing the material to make nukes, but also still keep their nuclear facilities. So they can keep the nuclear facility to use it for energy, but they just want, America wants them to not be able to actually produce the nuclear missiles, which supposedly Iran doesn't have, but they can create it, instantly because of how much material they have to go ahead and produce it. So oh yeah, brothers have discussed and checked this out already. All praise to Yahweh Shem Yashai. The Lord had slain, right, a false prophet in the earth. All praise to Yahweh Shem Yashai. Now, this is about 4 days ago. But, of course, we didn't have a Watchman Wednesday last week. We were keeping the feast. So we want to give this update, right? So it says Oman, the mediator in, or Oman, the mediator in the negotiations between Iran and the United States, issued an important statement. Iran and the U.S. have agreed to start a new phase of negotiations. The aim is to lift all sanctions and ensure that Iran does not go nuclear, but Iran will retain its nuclear facilities for nuclear energy. And this is what I just broke down, right? So there's not too much that's been taking place as of yet, not too much more, but we want to keep watch over it, right? We want to keep watch over it. You can check out the Iran Observer, pretty trusted outlet, drawing other drawing news from other sources as well. So definitely check that out. And we also want to go over the price of gold. So as you see on the screen, gold surges to new record high after Trump's repeated attacks on U.S. Fed chief. And why this is important is because as gold prices are going up, remember, gold is being measured against the dollar. So when you see $3,500, $4,000, $10,000, which is US, for 1 ounce of gold, that's saying that gold is more valuable. You need a bunch of US dollars just to get 1 ounce of gold. That shows gold is higher. If it was $10, 50 cents, 25 cents for an ounce of gold, that shows that the US dollar is more valuable than gold. Remember, gold is always has been and always will be the chief currency of the earth. Right? Has always been and always will be the chief currency of the earth. But at the same time, you understand that, and I want to get this precept real quick. At the end of the day, we understand that these riches and all of this is all going to be destroyed. So as you see these prices of gold continue to be raised, that's just showing that the economy is continually being weakened. Since I believe 1 month ago or something like that, there's some report I saw, trillions of, really I think since last year, trillions of dollars have flowed in to buying gold. People are ditching the US dollar, getting rid of a currency that means nothing, and buying gold in large sums. Countries are stockpiling gold. China has the most amounts of gold hidden in their stockpile. So these nations that are hoarding gold and they're getting rid of the US dollar because they understand that this economy is about to crash. In their minds, they think they're going to continue on, but according to the Lord and according to the Bible, of course, right, we understand that all hell is going to break loose, and the things that they're trying to stockpile is going to mean nothing. Right? It's going to mean nothing. This is James chapter 5, verse 1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. So the Lord said these things are cankered. What does it mean to be cankered? Right? Let's go into the word cankered. Slakia. This is the Greek for the word cankered. It says to rust over, cover with rust, rust down, corrode. So the Lord is saying what? The gold, the silver, the riches, the resources that you have in his life is all going to be rusted over. It's going to mean nothing. Right? Let me get this other precept real quick. Let me get this other precept in the book of 2nd Ezra. right? Second Ezra chapter, I want to get 16 and I want to get verse 40, right? I'll get verse 41. This is really the point, right? Get right to it. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise as he that had no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. He that soweth, and what is that going into? If you having merchandise, if you having these businesses, these storefronts, it's all going to be done away with. It's all going to be destroyed. It's all going to be broken down. In those days, and you can watch this in if you ever seen the movie The Book of Eli, you seen Mad Max, these different so-called apocalyptic movies, you see the state of the world and how it is once all hell has broke loose. Now, as far as Mad Max, that's to the extreme. It won't be like that per se, right? Because we understand that following a nuke's dropping and hitting the earth, there's not really going to be man dwelling in those areas as the world's going to be restarted. And we're going to, have the nations clean up the rubbish, as it tells you in the book of Ezekiel, the 38th, 39th chapter. They're going to be, cleaning up the rubbish and building up the land, building up our land. And the Most High God is going to cleanse the earth. So in those movies they have in, completely desolate, it's going to be desolate, chiefly over here in the land of America. You read about that in the book of Isaiah, the 13th chapter, and Isaiah, the 34th chapter. So it's going to be destroyed, right? But nevertheless, there's a time where we're going to be, of course, our rulership, our kingdom, which will be everlasting. So the things that you have in this world and the things that these nations have, and the Most High is going to overthrow all of it. All that's going to be broken down and destroyed. And that time is coming very soon on the earth. And if you was being honest and being real with yourself, you will understand that, yes, you do what you do as far as taking care and providing for your house. But the real gold and silver that you need to obtain is the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And being mindful that the days are only drawing closer and closer to the end of the world, and not a time of peace and serenity and being rich in this world. This is Revelation 3:17. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increase with goods and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that thy shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thy eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. So the Lord said what? He said, you say that you're rich and you're increased with goods, and you don't want to move like that. Remember, these goods, they don't mean nothing. What do you really have in this world? Right? What do you really have in this world? Gold is surging to new records damn near every other day. And we did a deeper dive on gold and the meaning behind all of this. I believe maybe 2 or 3 Watchmen Wednesdays ago, right? You could go back to it on the YouTube channel. But if you look this up, every time gold is hit, a significant number, whether $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, it's always been followed by a major world event. Whether the planes crashing allegedly and hitting the Twin Towers, right? Whether it was a C-19, right, taking place and gold skyrocketing to $1,500, whether it was the war in Russia and Ukraine, gold skyrocketing to $2,000, whether, as you see right now, gold is at, let's actually show you, right? I want to show this. Gold surges to new record high after Trump's repeated attacks on U.S. Fed chief. It says the price of gold jumped to a fresh new high on Tuesday as concerns about the U.S. President Donald Trump's intention to oust Federal Reserve Chief Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell weighed on investors. Gold considered a safer financial bet amid economic uncertainty. Well, what economic uncertainty? Talking about America. When investors are scared about the state of the economy, they take their money and they put it in gold. They're trying to hedge their bet. Meaning what? They saying, well, if this fails, I got gold because I know gold is always going to be reliable. It says rose to a new record of 3,505 cents per ounce. That's crazy. It says earlier in the day, according to Refinitiv data, and last traded at 34.79 and 50 cents per troy ounce. Gold has risen over 31% so far this year. You tell me an investment is going to rise 31%. That's an investment you want to make. So that's what these people of the world is thinking. Now, we're telling you, hey, don't worry about that. Why? Because the Lord is saying don't worry about that. Remember, it's going to be moth eaten. He's telling you to buy gold, but he's not telling you to buy that gold, carnal gold. You got to buy that spiritual gold, brother. Stop playing games. This is Revelation chapter 3, verse 18. I counsel thee to buy me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich. You want to be rich? You want to make it in this society? It's not going to happen. But if you want to make it in the next society, this is your ticket. This is your boat right now. And you better jump on in. Let's go back to this. It says gold has risen over 31% so far this year. It's been one of the biggest winners as Trump advances his global tariff agenda. It's driven by rising demand for safe haven assets amid declining confidence in the U.S. dollar and escalating geopolitical and economic risks. So you can check the rest of this out if you want to check it out, right? And the last update we're going to provide. Last update is just to make sure that you check out the latest Monday Night Fire. As you see right there, the famine of the word, the banning of the Bible, and more, streamed 2 days ago on a Watchmen for Israel main account. If you haven't checked that video out, definitely check it out. A few more things I wanted to cover, but it's pretty much covered in this video. So definitely check this thing out, right? But Most High willing, you was edified, and we're gonna get some closing precepts, right? Most High willing, you was edified, so let's get some closing precepts. Let's go to St. Mark chapter 13 and verse number 36, 35. Let's get right to it. It says, watch therefore, for you know not when the master of the house cometh. And we don't know when Yahweh Shai is returning. Remember, he's the master. Yahweh Shai is your master. What does it mean to be the master? It means to be a ruler, right? It says, he to whom a person or thing belongs. You belong to the Most High. You belong to his son, Yahweh Shai. He has power over you. Yahweh Shai has power over you, not for you to do what you want to do, but for you to do what he says to do. He's your possessor. He's your creator. He's your owner. Remember that. Reverence that. Take pleasure in that. Give glory to the Most High for that. So the Lord said what? Let's go back to this. Mark 13, 35. Watch ye therefore, for you know not when the master of the house cometh, at even or at midnight or at the cock crowing or in the morning. Lest coming suddenly he find you sleeping. And what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch. So you want to make sure that you're keeping watch. You want to make sure that you're being vigilant. You want to make sure that you're following your master, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Hamashiach, Umalak, Yahushai. This brother Kisadi from W5 Jersey, Philly. Giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. Kwame Asharala. Keep watching these last days. Shalom.